booktube, and today I'm coming at you with something I'm going to call my what the did I just read? And today's episode, the inaugural episode, is going to be on Infinite Jest by David Foster Wallace. Here we go. So this book is notorious for being one of the incredibly hard books to read, and also an often unfinished book. And I can certainly see why, but it really shouldn't be so touted for being in the groups with things like I've seen Lord of the Rings in this lot, and that's an unfinished book for me. But War and Peace. Now, I've read War and Peace. I tried to read it twice and I decided I didn't want to anymore. But War and Peace I found to be very dense in its detail, especially the troop movements. Can't stand them. Whereas Infinite Jest by Wallace isn't so much dense as completely inaccessible and does absolutely no world building. Now, once I finished this book, I started Googling and looking at different bits and pieces about what was said. I did find out that David Foster Wallace took his own life after this. This book was written in, well, over a period of time, but published in 1995, 96. And after this point, he did take his own life. If this is the way that man's brain worked, I'm not surprised he had some issues going on in his life, because it chops, it changes. You cannot work out what the date is because of subsidized time, which is a concept in the book, where after, it sounds like after the year 2000, America was running out of money, and so were the other governments. So instead of having the years in date order, years were subsidized and paid for and sponsored by whatever brand could drum up the money. So there's the year of the trial size Dove soap. I think it was Dove. And there's the year of the Depends undergarment and this sort of thing. So as you're going through, and I was well aware that they weren't in years, the sequences that were happening were not being given to us in year order or in chronological order, but I was unable to find out what that chronological order was due to the fact that the years weren't dated in the conventional way. So things were being fed to us and we had to work out what order that was in. Now, that's also fine. I don't mind that. But it's one of those books that just ends. It doesn't finish. Nothing is finished. And here's Quotas as having said, all the information on what happened is given to you. You have to work it out. I then went and had a look at the Australian book club from our Australian Broadcasting Commission, the ABC. They do a Tuesday book club, and they did this a couple of years ago, and I was aware of it, and I was going to go and have a look at it once I'd finished. One of the panelists said, have you read such and such's, and if I remember it, I'll put it up on the screen, analysis of what happened, and it actually goes through. And you wouldn't recommend going and reading it before you've read the book or tried to work out what the ending actually is. But it did bring it all together. But it was, do I really want to read a book and then have to either make up my own ending, which annoys me and I find lazy, or go and read all this other stuff and watch all these other reviews to work out whether it was good or not? And I think, no, I don't. I'm going to go through some of the themes of the book. Obviously, there is the main overarching theme that I could discern myself and from reading things is addiction. We have a character or a group of characters that represent the obvious face of addiction, and that is our recovering drug and alcohol addicts in the Ennis house down the hill from the tennis academy. Next set of characters is the tennis academy. Now these people are also addicts in their own way. Some of them are doing recreational drugs, most of them being pot smokers, if they do those drugs. But they also have that athlete's high thing. They are ridiculously trained to be good at this tennis that they are doing. And there is intricate, incredibly detailed notes on a couple of different tennis games, which, again, intricate notes on things that are completely irrelevant, but it is showing the addiction side of it. We also have these wheelchair-bound group of people from Canada who are trying to infiltrate all these different parts of society in order to cause terrorist attacks. And that is all brought on from the fact that this is all set on a background of a post-apocalyptic style event that happened in the top portion of America, the US, where they have had a nuclear holocaust of some description, and it's taken out a whole heap of the top of America, and in response to that, they've just taken over parts of Canada, and Canada now belongs to the US. So it's a very different sort of background that this is all set on. At a certain point, there will be spoilers in this, but I really don't feel that it's gonna really spoil anything. At a certain point, one of the addicts, or the recovering addicts from the Ennis house, is shot and is in hospital and is refusing treatment for his pain, and starts seeing visions of a wraith, sort of ghost type character. Now, this wraith ghost-like character in his fever dreams is telling him things about the sons of the creator, the founders of the tennis academy, that he would not know. He doesn't know these people. He's using words that this person would not know. He's using information this person would not know. And it sort of has this element of a sort of supernatural sci-fi come in, and then there's no explanation for it whatsoever. In nothing I've seen has there been an explanation for the father, one of the founders of the tennis academy, to be visiting this recovering drug addict in a nearby hospital during a fever dream. So this is where we come to my conclusion, because buggy you, Mr. Foster Wallace, if you're going to leave it open-ended and I have to go and investigate one, I'm going to make one up that I like myself. So, my recovering drug addict, I've decided, is actually a time traveller, and due to his issues, he and the wraith's influence, it's actually him coming back from the dead to tell him how to go back in time. So Gatesy's going to be able to go back in time, meet up with the tennis pro students' mothers, make the tennis academy, and that's why he knows all the information as to where all this stuff is. That's my explanation. Screw you, Mr. Foster Wallace. So, that is my what the did I just read review, And if you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, comments below, and if you haven't already, please hit that subscription button, and hope you have happier reading than I had reading this